So, okay, you are going to tell me if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm going to put in full screen right now. Okay, so today we are going to present you the guidances on SoilWise to populate SoilWise with data and knowledge. So first, I just present myself. So my name is Céline Blitz-Fréré. I am from CIRAD Institute. And my role in SoilWise is use case leader. So it means that I interact with the scientific community to verify and to know more about the needs of the scientific community, so that in SoilWise, the development are aligned with your needs. So SoilWise, as in a few words, is a project aiming at delivering a prototype for long-term access point for data and so for knowledge and data for soils in Europe. And so I'm going to present you how to make the data and the knowledge discoverable onto SoilWise. So SoilWise currently, if you can access it, it's a catalog of metadata. And maybe first I'm going to transfer you in the chat. Just I'm going to stop the screen to give you in the chat the two main links for SoilWise. So we have first the link of the catalog itself, if you want to have a look at it. So here is the link of SoilWise Catalogue, if you want to check it. And I also give you the link of the guidances that I'm going to present just here, so that you can have it after the presentation. So of course, don't hesitate to interrupt me if you have any question. And we also inform you that the session is recorded, so for practical reasons. So I'm going to go back into my screen to share the screen again. So you are going to tell me if it's still okay to see my screen.
Yes, now we can see.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we are going first to see a little demonstration on the very broad principle of how to make a data and knowledge discoverable on SoilWise, and after we will go through more details about how to do that. So first, just in a few words, so SoilWise, if SoilWise can provide you the results about the soil data and knowledge, it is because it's harvesting different kinds of repositories. For example, it's harvesting Cordis, where you can make the deposit of your European project reports, but also project repositories. And a very important hub also is OpenAir. So for your project report, if you want them to be visible onto SoilWise, you have to put them onto Cordis because there is a link. And for your data and knowledge, you have to go through OpenAir. And OpenAir itself is harvesting a lot of source repositories. So if you want to know which repository is harvested by OpenAir, to know, for example, if your favorite source repository is connected to SoilWise, you just have to go on the Find Repository section of OpenAir, and you will find actually thousands of source repositories connected to OpenAir and so connected to SoilWise. So of course, thank Giovanna Cristina. If you have any question, feel free to interrupt me while I'm talking. And so to come back on this harvesting process, so if you want to make a peer-reviewed scientific publication deposit, so you can choose, for example, an editor like Science Direct or Springer, which is connected to OpenAir and then onto SoilWise. And if you want just to make a deposit of a data knowledge in the broad scientific domain, so you can choose, for example, Zenodo, which is a platform recommended by the European Commission. And you have also different kind of repositories, such as, for example, Bonares here, if you have long-term experiments. And here today we have Cenk Donmes, who is with us and who is in the team of Bonares. And if you have, for example, collaborations with CIRAD Institute, you have also the Dataverse CIRAD source repositories, and you have many other repositories that you can choose to link to SoilWise. So,
yes, if I
yes.
can add something more, yes, in Mona Lisa project, I'm a colleague of Giovanna, and we will use Zenodo for scientific as a scientific domain, but in particular GitHub also for as a repository for the code that the project will develop.
Okay, great. So for GitHub, you will see that GitHub is not directly connected to SoilWise. However, on Zenodo, we will see that there is a specific section for source codes. So in this section, I will not go through the details, but you will find the right field to indicate the URL of your software repository. So including GitHub. Okay, so thank you for these comments, Christina. So first, just to go very quickly with Bonares, in the case you would have to use Bonares for long-term experiments, data, or knowledge. So to make a deposit on Bonares, Cenk can confirm it, you have to go on this link. And then, for example, on SoilWise, we find data from Bonares. For example, if you type Signal is the name of a project in agroforestry, you will have these results on SoilWise. And this results is coming from the Bonares repository that you can see at the rear of the slide. So have the data is submitted onto Bonares. So first step, you have to go on this link, tools.bonares.de for submission. First, you have to download, for example, on Bonares, a metadata template. It's a Word document that you have to fill in, with particularly important the information about your funding grant. And then once you have done that, you go on to submit your data set. You have to log in, and then to fill the fields on Bonares, the fields of the general metadata, and then to upload your data file as well as the metadata template that you have filled before in Word. And then you're done. You can click on submit. Cenk, if you have something to add on this process, feel free. And in this case, if you don't have the account on Bonares, of course, you can sign up for the Bonares account. And that's how you could see the data from Bonares to SoilWise. So you see it was everything made from the source repository on Bonares. So if you have any question, we have here the support team from Bonares repository. Another example is from Dataverse CIRAD. So it's approximately the same process. You go on this source repository, for example, at this link. If you have a collaboration on CIRAD, so we have data from Dataverse CIRAD onto SoilWise, such as this one. So how this data was submitted? So from a Dataverse platform, because Dataverse is a software that can be used also on other universities or other organizations. So you log in on the Dataverse of your choice. So here, example with CIRAD. And then you choose the location in the Dataverse where you want to add your data. And then you just have to click on Add Data, New Data Set. And one more time, you fill the fields in. And you just have to upload your files, your data or knowledge files. And then click on Publish Dataset or Submit for publication if there is a curation process. And now, several days after, you will have the data onto SoilWise. So that's how it works on the Dataverse platform. And of course, you always have a support link as well. So it was just a focus to show you two different types you see of source repositories. And now we are going to go, since you are going to use Zenodo, we are going to focus onto Zenodo and to see two examples. One example that I think in Mona Lisa can concern you because it's about the observational data. And we will see another example about the websites, how to make your website sustainable, because it is also a big concern for some projects. So here is a plan that we will see today. So first, we will go a little bit more in details on how to choose a repository, although after we will come back on Zenodo. Then we will see how to fill the metadata fields. And then the examples of the preparation of the data files themselves and the source files for the website. So it's two different types of examples that we will see. And then the publication and the verification on SoilWise. And of course, one more time, if you have a question, feel free to interrupt. So first, so as we said, so SoilWise is harvesting the records and the resources from a lot of repositories. There is thousands of repositories connected to SoilWise, but as you understood, we cannot make a deposit of data and knowledge onto SoilWise. SoilWise is just harvesting the metadata from these thousands of repositories. And among all these repositories, there is just, a few of them that you can choose to put your data, to make the deposit on your data. So we saw the example with Bonares, we saw the example with Sierra Dataverse, and we are going to see now the example of Zenodo. And of course, you can choose other kinds of repositories. The only thing is that they must be connected to SoilWise and so by OpenAir. So for example, if you want to know more, so I also wrote you the link here of all the Find Repository section of OpenAir. So for European project reports, you have to go through Cordis, for peer-reviewed journal articles, but as well, if you have PDF documents for knowledge or video or images, you can also go into a source repository such as Zenodo. And same for the website and the source code. So as you discussed about GitHub, so for you, there is two ways of doing with GitHub. So you can, for example, make a data set with Zenodo just indicating the URL of your software repository. But what you can do as well is to get the source code from GitHub, to extract it from GitHub, and you can also create a data set with the last version of your software inside. That's another solution. And the same for websites. Websites, we will see that as well, the process will be source code extraction. So as you can see, so all the repositories, the data repository and knowledge repositories are organized on the same way. It means that there is a field to fill in, whatever it is, Dataverse IRAD or Bonares or Zenodo. And you have a location here on the top, on the bottom for Dataverse IRAD and on the top for Zenodo, there is a box where you can drag and drop your upload the file. So it's always the same structure for the source repositories. So the place when you are writing the information into the fields of the source repositories are the generic informations. And we will see that in the next section, fill your metadata. And the place where you upload the data, we will see that in the section 3. It is the box that you have here with the green arrows. And so for your information, generic fields of metadata are called the Dublin core metadata. And the problem is that they are not sufficient to describe soil specificities. You will see, maybe you already tried on some source repositories, but whatever the source repositories, it's very general information. So unfortunately, to describe more precise informations, we have to deal with the files of data and to add a kind of files that will include the soil-related information that will include a part of the metadata finally. And so we will do that with the file upload section. So to come on Zenodo, if you want to submit something on Zenodo, you have just to log in, to click on new upload, and then to fill the metadata. So this is the graphic interface of Zenodo with all the types of information you have to fill in. And so if you have a GitHub account with a software project repository, here you have the software section onto Zenodo. And so I don't have any slide to go further in details, but it's there that you will find the place to write the URL of your project repository. So of course, we always recommend to save your draft often when you are doing the operation. And so the first section that you can find on Zenodo is the basic information. So in this section, you will have to indicate if there is a DOI on other files, on other related data sets. So it's not always the case. Sometimes you don't have to mention it. You will have to indicate, for example, the resource type, the titles, publication date, creators, description, and licenses. And so in this section, what is very important to ensure a harvest by SoilWise is not only to have the resource repository connected by SoilWise. It's one of the 3 mandatory criteria, the story of the source repository connected by SoilWise, but there is also 2 other mandatory criteria to ensure the harvest by SoilWise is to indicate the soil keyword in the description or the title of your record, as it's indicated here. And very important for the Mission Soil project, also in the funding section that we have here, it is to add the grant agreement number of your project. And on Zenodo, it's very easy to do that, because if you go on the funding section, you have several options. You will find the option Standard Grant Award. Then you can choose the option the Organization European Commission. And if you make the choice of these 2 options, then you just have to type the name of your project and the grant agreement number will appear. So it's already registered onto Zenodo. You just have to find the name of your project. So this criteria about the grant agreement number is mandatory currently. But this strategy could maybe be revised in the future. Because I remind you that we are in a prototyping phases in SoilWise, so maybe it will be modified. But in that case, of course, the guidances will be updated accordingly. But nowadays, currently, if you want to ensure that your record is harvested by SoilWise, so choose a repository harvested by SoilWise, indicate the soil keyword into the title and the description, and add your grant agreement number of your Mission Soil project. That's the 3 mandatory criteria. And if there is a problem, contact us in that case. So I don't know if you have a question about this, or I can follow up. Okay. So now, very important criteria too, but it's not mandatory, but it's better and highly recommended, is in the basic information also to indicate a license. So the license of your production normally should be indicated into the data management plan of your project. So normally you should already have it, but to choose a license, so on Zenodo you have the choice of either adding standard licenses like Creative Commons, for example, or you can as well create your own license. You have the choice between both solutions, but in all the cases, your license should be coming from the discussions with your collaborators to choose the most open license while respecting privacy, ethical, and legal constraints. So mostly it's discussion. And if you want some interesting recommendations about the licenses, we indicate several links just here. So also a point related to the licenses that I would like to display is the visibility of the files. Because your record, your data or knowledge set, can be published with a restricted access of the files. And in that case, of course, appropriate license must be indicated. So it means that when you are publishing a data set, or what we could say a knowledge set on Zenodo record, all the metadata, it means all the information that you have indicated in the fields will be publicly visible. But you can choose to restrict your files. It means that the files themselves can be hidden. And if you make that choice, just make sure that the license is indicated accordingly. For example, if you want to restrict your files because you have an embargo, just mention it into the license. Don't put an open license in that case. Just make a custom license indicating that, yes, because we are making a scientific publication, we have an embargo, so the data set will be open from this year. It's something that you can justify. So now let's go for the recommended information. So you have also this part of the recommended information when you can add the contributors. It means the person that do not appear in the citation, the language, the publisher, and very important too, the keyword. So concerning the keyword, it's important to choose a keyword related to a controlled and sustainable vocabulary. Unfortunately, on Zenodo, there is only 3 vocabularies that are supported. There is a EuroCVOC, European Science Vocabulary, the medical subjects headings, but it's not for us in Soil domain, and the general multilanguage environmental thesaurus, the GMET. So to choose a keyword, of course, you just have to go in the keyword and subject section, as you can see here onto this box. You start writing the first name of the keyword, and if a name appears with the parenthesis of the name of one of these 3 vocabularies, then it means then the keyword is included into this sustainable vocabulary. So it's better to choose it, of course, if the definition is matching your needs. So that's the best solution. But very often you will not find it, unfortunately. So in that case, just write your custom term as keyword. It's better if you can to have the sustainable vocabulary, but if you cannot, just write the custom term. So I think that I indicated the main informations for the metadata filling about the fields. Of course, you have more sections. For example, you have the publishing information, the conference, the reference, the related work. So for you, I think that something important will be the software section, where you can add all the information about your software repository. And for more information about all these fields, you can go onto this URL about help.zenodo for the deposit. One more time, if you have any question, feel free to interrupt. So now we are going to discuss more in details about the data themselves. So first, this section for the observational data files, and then after we will go through the example of website, because all projects have websites, and the problem is that, unfortunately, after the project ends, the website will not live longer. So first, for the data. So as soil data provider, you have to ensure that minimum of informations are here for, of course, humans. So in that case, for humans, we have to create CSV files and to upload onto our record on Zenodo CSV files. But we also have to be careful because there is not only humans who are going to interact with our data files, there is also machines like SoilWise. SoilWise is interacting with the source repositories. And for this reason, we also need to upload what we call the JSON files that are machine readable files. And so in the slides, we are going now to present you some tips to realize to create your CSV files, and as well a tool to transform these CSV files in JSON files that you could also upload onto your dataset. So for these files, we are going just to go first into the data content, and after we will discuss about the data encoding, how to create a CSV from Excel, because it's the most common situation, and we will discuss about these JSON files. So first, for the data content of a soil data observations. Here is the minimum information that should appear into your file. So it means that you should have a data files with, of course, the the coordinate of the location of your measurements, as well as the coordinate reference system. And after you could indicate so the observed property, the measured property, very important, the procedure and the unit of measurement, the sampling date and the measurement date. And you can as well, depending on your situation, you can have the measurement procedure, but you can also have, for example, a sampling procedure or other types of procedure, so that you can organize it on your side depending on the operation of your project. And the observed property and the measurement procedure, ideally, we should indicate it through a new URI, which is a link to a sustainable repository for the procedure and the terms. We will show you that in a few slides. And so this data file that had the numerical value should be as well supported, should become with an additional CSV file listing all the type of information that you will provide. And this type of information, this additional metadata CSV file should look like this. It means that, so I didn't put any example of data files because data files, you already know how it looks like. It has the numerical values. And so to create this additional metadata file, you should, for example, indicate one column with the table. So the table is the name of the data files, the name of your property with the description, the type of property, because some properties can be numeric, other can be string, for example. And then you can write the URI or the definition of the property, and same for the procedure of your property. And so this URI, whatever it is, a definition of the property or the procedure of the property, can be found, for example, on glosses. And of course, you also have the units of measurements to indicate. So for example, how to get this URI? So this URI can be obtained from different type of platform. For example, for the definition of the term, because there is a definition and the procedure, for the definition, you can find it on AgroVoc. AgroVoc, you have the link here, so you have to go onto this link. Check in the search bar the name of the property you are looking for. And if the definition is matching your needs, then you can go at the bottom of the page and copy paste the link. And this link, you can add it into your CSV file of metadata. You can go as well, there is not only AgroVoc, you can go as well on GMET. And GMET, that's the same if you want to look for a term definition. So you have here the link, and one more time, you search for your term into the search bar. And once the definition is matching your needs, then you copy paste the URI, you copy paste the URI, and you put it into your CSV metadata file. And for procedure, this time, the procedure, you can find them so on different way. Either you can write a link to a scientific publications, for example, who refers the procedure, but the best will be to find it on Glossis. So on Glossis, you have to connect to this link and to browse from into the different modules. And while browsing, you will find different type of procedure, and they will be joined by the URI. So you can find the URI of the procedure there. But if I come back on your metadata.csv file, if you don't find the URI somewhere, then in that case, write yourself either an ISO ID, if it's appropriate, either the link to a scientific publication, either you write yourself the description with words. So you have different way of processing for the property and the procedure column. So I don't know if one more time, if you have any question, or if you haven't done these steps yet. Of course, once you will be making this operation, you can contact us and we can help you for that. So now let's move to the section about data encoding. So this time it's not anymore the content and the data of the data, but the format, the coding of the data. So we did this example because we could see that the most common situation in the scientific community is to have Excel files. So in that case, it's very easy. Maybe you already know that. When you have your Excel files with 2 tabs inside, we will have to create one CSV file per tab, because we prefer to put CSV files onto Zenodo instead of Excel files, which is proprietary format. So one tab is one CSV file, and it is the same if you have 2 Excel files with one tab in each file. Then for each case, create one CSV file, and after you will have to upload all these CSV files onto the Zenodo repository. So this is the process to create the CSV files from Excel files for human readable files. And then if you want to transfer your CSV file into a JSON file for machine readable file that you can join into your data set with your record. So in that case, we have a developer into SoilWise who created this tool. So it's a data annotator. So you can go on this link and test this tool because it's in development. So you are supposed to upload your CSV file and to have as results the JSON file that you can join onto SoilWise, onto the source repository, onto your records with the uploading files box. So on this tool, you will find also a link to meet the developer if you want to make tests. So we will be very happy to have your feedback if you use this tool. And so once you have done your CSV files and your JSON file, you just have to upload all these files onto Zenodo. So that's the process. And finally, as we said in the licenses section, once you have uploaded your files, you can configure the visibility of your files in agreement with your situation. Either you can indicate that these files are public, or you can restrict the files and indicate the license accordingly. So you have we have the chance in Zenodo to have this kind of choice to make. But in all the cases, just follow the right license. So maybe, I don't know if it's very relevant for Mona Lisa, because Mona Lisa, you have data from, maybe you have data from the fields, but in case you want also to make your website sustainable. So here is a little section about how to process. And we did this section because a lot of projects have as results websites. Websites for some projects, like Curious Soil project, it's a project about soil literacy. They are asked to create very interactive websites as results. And so they were questioning us how to make this website live longer than the lifetime of the project, because once the project will end, the website is supposed to end as well. So what we propose is just to make a snapshot, what we call a snapshot of this website, and to put that on Zenodo, because unfortunately we cannot propose to set up a server which will deploy and maintain the website forever. This is not possible. So instead, we propose to get the source code of the website, the HTML files, for example, and to upload all these files onto Zenodo. So unfortunately, you lose the interactivity of the website, but you get the possibility for future deployments of this website on different servers. So how to make that? So we can use different kind of tools to extract the source code of a website. For example, we can use the httrack tool that you can download at this link, that you can open on your Windows computer. And then you have it's very easy. You have 5 steps to process with this tool. So very quickly, how it consists in, once you are opening the httrack tool onto your computer. So you indicate first here in pink what is a repository on your local computer where you want to get all your source files. In blue, you have the location of this repository onto your computer. And then in green here, you will have also to indicate which web address, where is located your website to get the source code. And then you click on next, on finish, and you will have appearing onto your computer in the directory of your choice, you will have all the source code of your website. And in that case, if you want to make a record on Zenodo of your website source code, you just have to create a zip, for example, the directory source.zip, and to add it onto Zenodo with a documentation if needed. And then you could create a kind of data set of records for your website. And this can be also interesting to do in the lifetime of your project, just to make a copy of the source code of your website. And then last step is the publication and the verification onto SoilWise. So to publish something, a record on Zenodo, whatever in this record you have a data file or source code from your website, or even source code from software, it can be this case too. You just have to click on publish to confirm that you want to publish, and you will have your data set or your records published onto Zenodo immediately. So little note about the publication onto Zenodo is that once your record is published, if you want to make a modification onto the metadata that you have filled in the fields, then it's easy because it can be done without any new version, without creating a new version of your record. But if you want to make a modification onto the files of your records, such as a deletion of the files or just a modification, then you will have to create a new version, and the version before will remain available. So it means that the data will not be erased before. So anyway, in case of problem with your files after the publication, we highly recommend to contact Zenodo or to contact the help desk of the source repository you choose. And finally, so once you have your record published onto Zenodo, you will find immediately the DOI, which will be highlighted onto the screen here, for example. And if you want to check if it's on SoilWise, so you have to wait something like 1 week, because we have to wait that OpenAir, which is connected to SoilWise, is harvesting the content of Zenodo, so it takes 2 to 3 days. And we have to wait too that SoilWise is harvesting the content from OpenAir, and it takes also several days. So that's the reason why you can make the verification after 7 days approximately. And if you want to verify, so here you have the link of the SoilWise catalog that I indicated into the chat. And so it's easy because you go into the catalog and either you copy paste the title of your record, either you copy paste the DOI, and you even have a DOI checker on the landing page. And so once you have made this verification, so there is 2 things. Either your record is discoverable through SoilWise, so congratulations, you have made the job. But if your record is not discoverable through SoilWise, or if it's not correctly displayed, because we can have also several bugs for the graphical interface or the information, so we will propose you to contact us by the feedback button here. And there is a little questionnaire to indicate your problem. But you can also write a free email at this address. And so, yes, I think I'm done. So I don't know if you need some more information, if you have some comment about this. Maybe you are not yet at this step in your project.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you so much for this very interesting presentation. The idea in Mona Lisa project is to create a community dedicated to the project within Zenodo, and upload within this community all the outputs of the project. So we are in progress. We are starting for this action. Okay. Thank you so much for your support.
You're welcome. So I know that sometimes you are following these guidelines, but you are not still synchronized in your project because we.
Really, a colleague of mine participated in last December the 2nd to your events a presentation of the same material in Brussels. And where I wasn't able to participate, and but my colleague shared with me really your same presentation. So I'm so confident. I'm trying to so confident to this, but I like to listen to your presentation directly, so to have a direct information. Thank you so much.
Okay, so thank you a lot, Christina. And just a little comment about the community on Zenodo. Once we'll be creating your community on Zenodo, you will still have to indicate the SOIL keywords as mandatory criteria and the grant agreement number. Okay, it's not because you are creating the Mona Lisa community that it prevents you from this criteria. You still have to do it.
Okay, thank you to remind me this issue. Okay.
Okay, thank you, and so good luck. So I don't know if you have other comments, because we can also be available in the next months to support you into your data and knowledge deposit as well.
Céline, may I ask you something?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, sure. No, because no, just to to understand because I'm not very familiar with metadata. So what you are, so the aim of your, so I mean this project, let's say, provided many repository, no? So it's a sort of network, no, between you and this repository. So now for me, I didn't catch up the process. So I mean, so all the project, any kind of project can have data, can let's say ask you, or let's say share it with you, or to give visibility, no, to the other project in SoilWise. So I mean that, for example, Mona Lisa have the data, so we'll let's say provide this data in Zenodo. So now this data, quindi so that created a library, so a glossary, so any kind of let's say material or documents that can support it, I guess, the community of related to the soil, no? So we'll let's say we'll provide for both, I mean, SoilWise and the other projects. So there is some constraints, so everyone can access to this one. So for me, it's not let's say, but because maybe it's my duty, so I'm not very familiar. But just in practice, so if I have data, so I can access to Zenodo and allow other project to see or to share, to have some let's say comparison. Thank you.
Yes, so if you want the other project to have a look on your data of records, actually you have to publish onto a source repository connected to SoilWise. So the European Commission is recommending Zenodo. We cannot put directly the results onto SoilWise, but we can put them onto a source repository connected to SoilWise, and these source repositories can be Zenodo, it can be for the European Project Reports Cordis, it can be also other kind of source repositories like Dataverse. But in all the cases, it is the best way of sharing your records from your project. So I don't know if I answered right to your question. Maybe if you want to reformulate something.
Oh, it's okay. So I know that every project should at the end deposit, provide this data on Zenodo.
Yes.
But I mean that SoilWise has this aim, let's say, to provide why you need to connect it with many repositories. So let's so okay, so the common it's Zenodo, but other can choose different. So it's not this one, but at the end, so I mean that all this data, quindi so can have some benefit to the European community. So for the other research can be, let's say, consulted for everyone. So probably it's the aim of your project that should provide this kind of process, this repository. So how is connected? I mean, with the other project. I mean, can create a clustering, so can create it a sort of sharing. So I think that all the project, I mean, provide at the end, the data should provide this repository. So this one, but it's okay.
Actually, yes, the networking of the project, so it's not directly made on SoilWise. SoilWise is connecting the project for their records. It means that while SoilWise is harvesting Zenodo and other kind of repository, so it means that SoilWise gets the metadata of all these records from all the projects onto its catalog. And so when we say a single access point for data and knowledge, we refer to the catalog of SoilWise, because that's here that you can find the records of all the projects. And it's a way of connecting the project. But after, if you want to have more discussion about some transversal points for all the projects that will be more a subject and not a record, then it can be the Mission Soil platform objective as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your question, Giovanna.
Oh, thanks to you. It's very interesting. So, but I'm sorry, maybe I did stupid the question, but
No,
it's not.
you're right. That's the most interesting.
Because
and really, if you want to have additional information or discussion, feel free to contact us, and we can make as well a one-to-one meeting if you want.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So I don't know if there is other questions or comments.
No, from myself, just to say thank you. And it's nice to see that Mona Lisa project is well represented today. My colleagues, Christina and Giovanna, we are in contact with SoilWise also through our colleagues from CREA in Italy. And one of the topic will be also to put in the platforms also the results of National Hub. So we will have to, because for Horizon project is more easy. We are obliged to be in contact, and we have several platforms and rules. But for national projects, it's not so clear and so practiced. And we will try to put also national projects in the big community of the platform. I have a question about the user platform that is the Commission is preparing, because at the beginning they told us that the SoilWise was preparing the infrastructure for the user. In the last presentations, it seems that something is changing, maybe with a different role of the European Environment Agency, and so it seems that user will be a collector of best practices more than the real platform for sharing the data. Is it correct in your view?
So the link between SoilWise and USO, indeed, because it's indicated indeed that SoilWise is supposed to feed the USO dashboard. That's right. So it means that at the end of the project, SoilWise will be maintained by the European Commission. So what is the link? We are discussing about how to make this link between SoilWise and USO. So we could propose, for example, to make development so that from Zenodo, you can have a button to indicate and to have a specific metadata template for USO, because finally that's the goal. USO have to select the right data from the pool of data that SoilWise has, but we are not sure that this process will be chosen. So currently we are more thinking about a kind of minimum of information or type of information that could be interesting to USO. So that's because the problem finally is that USO can be able to select the data or the knowledge inside everything that SoilWise has harvested. This knowledge must be selected to fit the user dashboard. So currently it's still under development, but we are studying which kind of information should be relevant to fit the user. So it's really on development, so I don't have any more information to provide you, but we are still working on that. That's a very relevant question that you had.
Okay, so we will wait for information.
Yes, I know that a lot of projects are waiting, because indeed it's a grant agreement of project. It's indicating that we have to be aligned with SoilWise and USO. And I know that a lot of projects are waiting for these answers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Francesca. So if you don't have any more questions or comments, we thank you a lot for this meeting, for these interesting discussions. And of course, we can support you, we can help you in the process to link your data, your records to SoilWise. So really feel free to contact us when you will have to make this kind of operation. And so I think that the meeting is ending now. I don't know if there is something
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Many thanks.